So here's a new project for us, big restoration. This is a 1927 Martin OOO. It is in fairly good shape, really. It's got some big cracks in the body and one place down right there where the top got crushed. So that's going to be a big thing to deal with. The bridge we don't think is original because it has bolts on it. I've never heard of a Martin doing that, and Jeff is quite a Martin guy, and he has never heard of a Martin bridge being bolted on. So that has to go. There's some cracks in the back. We'll get those fixed. Finish overall is in pretty good shape, and I think right now we're leaning toward not touching it, just clean up the guitar and let it go. The neck finish especially is in good shape.
Spectacular.
No dents at all.
Yeah, the neck is quite beautiful.
Yeah, flip it over, and what you see is bar frets. So instead of the modern fret design where they're a mushroom shape in cross section, these are just horizontal bars or vertical bars, and that's going to be a new adventure for me. I've never installed bar frets before. I think Martin stopped using them in the early 30s, but since this is from 27, it has bar frets. So a lot of work to come on this guitar. Nice slotted peg head. The tuners look to be original and they're in good shape. The buttons aren't cracked or anything, so
just to clean up.
Yeah, so we'll get those cleaned up and hopefully they'll work just fine. Still has an end pin.
Yep.
That's about it. I'm not sure exactly what the model is. I mean, it's a OOO, but is it an 18 or a 20 or it's not a 16?
I don't know, except that there's another example of a OOO from the same year. As a matter of fact, their serial numbers are very close to one another. And it's an 18, and it has a herringbone.
Yeah, that's right.
Where this one does not, which would make me think that it may be a 16.
Yeah. Yep. But so far we haven't seen any designation. I guess we'll hunt around a little more inside. Maybe it'll have a model number written in there somewhere.
And I don't know how tight Martin hung to its appointments during those times.
Right.
There's a little bit of dimensionality difference in this guitar from the other OOO that's out there as well. This guitar is ever so slightly wider in the lower bout.
Yeah, it's 15 1/4, whereas supposedly it should be 15 1/8.
So, but heavens.
Yeah, but Adirondack spruce top and beautiful mahogany for the back sides and neck, and it's light as a feather, and even once the strings are on, it'll be light as a feather. So, pretty cool project.
Yep, so I think the first thing we're going to do is put a set of light gauge steel strings on it to put the neck under some tension so we can figure out if we have to do anything to the neck other than refret it.
Yeah, because one thing we could do, if the neck is bowing forward once there's tension on it, we could use slightly wider bar frets, and that kind of pushes the neck back. It's a trick many people use when a neck doesn't have an adjustable truss rod. They use oversized frets to offset the forward pull from the strings.
Okay.
All right, stay tuned.
Can't wait.
Well, the first thing we did was put some strings on the guitar and just put it under a little bit of tension. We were trying to decide what size fret wire to get. The bar stock comes in increments of 0.02 of an inch. And the current frets are 53 thousandths. So what I wanted to find out from stringing it up was whether the neck would start bowing forward since there's no truss rod. And if it did, we would get larger frets to pound in there and create some amount of back bow. But that worked out okay. The neck seems to be very straight when the guitar is under tension. The surprise was the string height. Once it got strung up, we hadn't really looked at it that closely before, but Jeff is holding a straight edge right on top of the frets, and when I build a guitar, I use a straight edge like that to set my neck angle on the body, and what I'm looking for at the bridge end is for the straight edge to be 3/8 of an inch off the soundboard. This one isn't even 3/32 of an inch off the soundboard. It's just about touching. So that creates a real problem, because once you add the height of the bridge and the saddle, it brings the string up sky high off of the frets. So we're going to have to do something about that. Possibly a neck reset. But before we go that far, we're going to fix all the cracks and put a different bridge on. This bridge, it's really lifting up pretty badly, even though, I mean, it's not a surprise, but that creates some of the added height at the bridge here. So if we can reduce the belly behind the bridge and put a probably stiffer bridge on the guitar, we might be able to make some of that go away, which would be great, because I'd rather not do a neck reset.
The thing that sort of is confusing a little bit is that the neck itself looks really good. It's straight. And if you look at the joint here, which is typically the big telltale sign when you need a reset, this seam is actually in quite good shape. It's tight.
Yep.
So that would tell us that the neck isn't twisting because of a failure in the dovetail. So why this has got the trajectory that it does is a little bit odd. It makes you want to blame it on the top, but I don't know that we can see that big of a belly. So
yeah, it's not a huge belly.
No.
I mean, I've seen them way worse than this. It's there, but
right.
It's not enough to account for what we see with the string height.
So I think what we're going to do is to maximize the status of the soundboard, do all the repairs, try and stiff it as much as we can, install a new bridge, and then we'll come back and take a look and see what our angles are like, and if they're no good, then we'll have to take the neck off and put it back on and readjust the neck angle that way, which is not the end of the world. We know how to do it. It's just we were hoping not to have to do it if we didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.